Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear. I just got done with a hike. I am rehydrating, and while I was on my way out of this hike, I was having several thoughts. So I figured I'd make a quick video, and if this turns out sounding coherent, then I'll post it. If not, then whatever. But I just hiked my favorite canyon. I've done a video about hiking this canyon before, and it's I think it was entitled Secret Waterfall Hike, and I love it up here. This has been my favorite place to hike locally for years now. I've come here countless times, sometimes several times a week. I'm up here a lot, and I'm up here year round. I know this canyon probably better than any other trail in the world. It's kind of feels like my spot, and it's a little bit of like a local kind of hidden gem, and yeah, it's just such a great place. But for a little over a month, it was closed because of the Rona. Now, before I talk about that, let me express a couple of reasons why I like hiking here so much. Reason number one is because it is fairly close to home. It's only about 15 minutes from my apartment. It's easy for me to get to, and yeah, so it's the proximity makes it great. Another reason is because the type of terrain it is. It's a canyon where there's two real ways you can come in, and either way you're going really gradually uphill, kind of following this riverbed. You can either stay up on the ridge, or you can get down into the riverbed and you can hike the riverbed up. Either way, it's a lot of fun, great views. There's parts of it where you feel really kind of like overlapped by the canyon in a cool way. It's like you're really in the mountain. There's other spots where it opens up and you can see really cool stuff. There's a number of really awesome waterfalls that you can get to. One main one where I almost always go and stop, and you can kind of climb up on top of it. And there's further ones that you can hike up to that are just stunning, and not many people even know about, let alone have I ever seen there. There's more and more that I keep discovering in that canyon that is just, it's so fun for me to feel like I'm finding places that not many people know about as a hiker. I'm definitely more into hiking than the average person. A lot of people say they're into hiking and they put it on their Tinder bio or whatever, that they're avid hikers. Meanwhile, that means that they go to Runyon Canyon every now and then, and they hike up by the Hollywood sign and take a picture. I love discovering nooks and crannies in these mountains, and waterfalls that people don't know exist, and rock faces that are fun to get up on top of, and just places that not many people go to. That's fun for me. I like getting off trail and just kind of seeing how far I can get. I like finding back ways up to places. I get a kick out of being up in these mountains. So I love that it's close to home. I love the type of terrain it is. I love how kind of untouched it kind of is back there. And then most importantly, I love that it is rare for me to see other human beings up there. I've seen more wildlife up in that canyon, up in that stretch of wilderness, than I have human beings. If not more than the same amount. And I'm not counting like bugs and birds. I mean, like, at least lizards. I've seen deer up there. I've seen bobcats up there. I've found a mountain lion kill up there. I haven't seen a mountain lion, but I found a deer that was pretty recently torn apart by one. I've seen a lot of stuff up there, and there's just, it feels secluded. There is a hike a mile from that spot, maybe 2 miles at the most, called Eden Canyon, and that is where everybody goes. And I love Eden Canyon. It's a really great place to hike. It's a fantastic trail. You hike along a river the most of the way. It ends at a really beautiful waterfall, but there's so many people that it ruins it for me. So coming up to a place like this where I feel alone makes a hike feel way more special to me. I love feeling like it's just me and the wilderness. That's the best way to hike, in my opinion. Have I brought friends up here? Sure, I love hiking with friends. Does it ruin it for me when I see other people up there? No. There was a guy that I saw from off in the distance today. I think good for him that he also knows about this place. But I don't like hiking in places where it's just like constantly other people with tiny little rat dogs and their Bluetooth speakers playing their music that they assume you want to hear as well. Like, that kind of stuff just irritates me when I'm out hiking. So the fact that this place, one of its crowning features for me is how secluded it is. So I guess that brings me to my point of, I made a video when I hiked a really crappy trail, and I was really frustrated out in Simi Valley after this trail had been closed and all of the trails in LA County were closed. So I started driving out to Simi Valley, which is in Ventura County, and I was hiking out there, and I was doing Chumash Trail a few times, and then eventually they closed Chumash Trail even, and so I hiked this garbage hike that wasn't even, like, I would not even consider it a hike. It was barely a trail, and I was just expressing how frustrated I was that because of the coronavirus, they were closing hiking trails. Now, let me be very clear. When the coronavirus was becoming a bigger and bigger thing, and everyone was officially being told to start staying home unless you were essential, and yada, 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 one of those first weekends, I went to go hiking with my wife and daughter. We were just going to do a quick little, like, nature walk. It wasn't even going to be much of a hike. So we were going to go to a place called Bailey Canyon, which is another one of my local favorites. And it was closed. And I was pissed that it was closed because the CDC had just come out with a statement that one of the approved activities during the coronavirus was to go hiking. So I was scratching in my head as to why they would be closing trails. So then we drove by Eaton Canyon, and Eaton Canyon is a great place to go if you're bringing your kids because it's nice and flat. It's a really wide trail for most of it. You don't have to go all the way into the waterfall, and if you don't, then there's not even like rock hopping or anything. It's just a very like easy beginner trail. My daughter's 5, so we were gonna do that, and we drove by it, and it was busier than I have ever seen it, ever. And I assume that's because the CDC came out and said one of the good things to do during coronavirus is to go hiking. So all the people who aren't even that into hiking usually, what are they going to do? They got nothing else. All the movie theaters are closed. The mall is closed. Everything that they normally do is closed. They're going to go to the most popular hiking trails around because those are the ones they know about, and they're going to go hike there. So they did. And I could tell the second we drove by that place, I wasn't going to bring my family out to hike there, especially the less that was known about the coronavirus at that point in time. I'm way less scared of the virus now than I was then. That's a different point entirely, but it was like days later that all of a sudden it went from CDC approves hiking as an activity to you are not allowed to hike. All the trails in LA County are closed. And so that was infuriating for me. I hoped that this trail, this canyon that I just did, I'm not even going to say the name of it because I don't want more people to know about it. It's just, I love that it's secluded. I got up there a couple days later, went to go on my next hike, and the way that trail was closed didn't even seem official. It seemed like the people in the neighborhood had put up a sign. I took a picture of the sign. If I have it, I'll link it in right now. Anywho, the way that it was closed just looked like the neighbors in that neighborhood closed it up, and I was gonna just walk past the sign and go hike. And as I got out of my car and put on my pack, there were people in the neighborhood who came over to me, obviously within a distance. They weren't right next to me because the coronavirus, right? And they told me I had to leave. And so I took a picture of the sign, and they were like, yep, take your picture and get out of here. And they were just really mean about it, and the whole thing was so stupid to me. It made me really upset that those people took it upon themselves to close a trail that's hardly traveled and to assume that they knew better than me that I was gonna catch the coronavirus somehow by getting up into this canyon, into the open air, and hiking by myself. I could not disagree more with that line of thinking. Anybody who thinks that going out into the open air is going to give them a virus is an idiot. Plain and simple. The unintelligence of that line of thinking. There's no virus, to my knowledge, that works that way. And even the early understanding of the coronavirus, it was pretty clear that it wasn't caught by going and being alone on top of a mountain. It's just not the way it works. So I was infuriated. I just started driving to another county to hike, which is also stupid that LA County would think. Anyways, I'm gonna stop there on that thought path, because I just get really worked up every time that I think about the insanity of closing the mountains because there's a virus in the city. Doesn't make any sense to me. Anywho, they finally reopened the trails, and I'm going to tell myself that it's because of all of the emails I sent and the phone calls which weren't answered, so I left voicemails. I called the Parks Department of LA County so many times and sent so many emails and badgered them on social media, even though they would never respond to any comment I put, and they deleted them all shortly after I put them up. But it was so asinine to me, the stance that they took. I understand the idea of keeping people safe. If I was going to Eaton Canyon and hiking in a sea of other people, then I understand why the government would be concerned about that. And I'm not trying to get overly political here. I don't want my channel to at all be that type of thing. So without being political at all, let me just say that the government is not good at protecting people. They suck at it, in my opinion. Second of all, it's not their job to protect me by taking my freedoms away. My freedom to travel, to go where I please, to be on public land. If I want to go and hike, even if I'm putting myself in danger, the government has no ability to tell me not to, in my opinion, and according to what our country is founded upon. It's not their job. It's not their role. They don't have any say-so in whether I go hiking or not. They don't. I'm free to do so. So it seemed like a massive overreach to me. Now, do I think it's a great idea to go to a place like Eaton Canyon or Runyon Canyon or one of these super popular trails where there's 1,000 other people while there's a virus outbreak? Absolutely not. But if people who are willing to do that are going to do that, they're willing to see other people regardless of whether it's on a hiking trail or not. Closing the hiking trail isn't going to stop people who are idiots from being idiots. So stopping people like me who are being intelligent about the way that we're hiking during this. I've got friends who I've wanted to hike with this entire time. I wanted to go hiking with my brother a couple weeks ago. Throughout this whole thing, I've wanted to go hiking with the people that I like to go hiking with, and I haven't. I have only gone solo hiking because I have been a person who's actually been staying at home. I've been a person who has actually been following the majority of the guidelines, the ones that I thought actually made any sense at all for the safety of myself and my family. I've got a kid and a wife. I'm not being dangerous with any of my actions. The healthiest thing that I do in my life is hiking. It really is, genuinely. I get cardio, I get strength training, I'm getting the best workout that I get. I don't have a gym membership, I'm not out pumping iron, I'm not like super into fitness. I love to hike and I feel great when I do it. I'm breathing fresh air, I'm getting great exercise. It's the healthiest thing that I do. So when they started telling me that I couldn't because it was dangerous, that I would catch the virus, I could not disagree more. So the fact that they started closing all the trails, the fact that I'm pretty sure it really was the people who live up by that trail who took it upon themselves to close it and police it, get out of here. I have no respect None, zero, for people who live like that in this country. It infuriates me. We are a country based on freedoms, and policing each other in a way that is taking each other's freedoms, I want no part of it. It makes me so mad. I don't know who I could possibly have been hurting if for the last month or month and a half, however long that trail has been closed, if I had still been going up there, hiking by myself and getting back in my car and driving home, who would I have been harming? Explain to me. If you're somebody who disagrees with me, please, I invite you, get in the comments and tell me, who could I have possibly been harming by getting up there in the open air, in the sunlight, which freaking kills the virus, by myself, getting exercise, climbing up waterfalls? How would I have even been harming myself? I don't understand. It makes zero sense to me. So, thank goodness that they have finally reopened the trails. Thank goodness that things seem to be sort of leveling out a little bit. But yeah, there was a lot I wanted to say about that. There's a lot that I could still ramble on about it with, but I'm just gonna leave it at thank goodness that it is opening back up, because I was getting real stir crazy and real upset that was a decision that was made, that I wasn't competent enough to decide whether hiking on a trail alone was okay for me and my body. I suppose that is the world that we are increasingly finding out that we are living in. So, I don't know what the point of this video is, other than just to express my thoughts a little bit. This is kind of a vlog entry, if you will. I don't know. But take that for what it is. I couldn't be happier today that I hiked where I did. The only frustrating thing is that the last month and a half has been a big part of one of my favorite seasons to be up there, and I missed out on it because they closed it for no good reason. Absolutely no good reason. And if you think you have anything that would prove that they had a good reason to close that private little hiking trail, again, please let me know, because I couldn't disagree with you more. And I've thought about it as much as I reasonably could over the past month and a half, 2 months, while they haven't allowed me to be up there. Yeah, it's nuts. But hopefully they don't close it again. If they do, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna kick over the sign and I'm going to hike there anyways. And that'll be what that is, because there's just no reason why I shouldn't be able to.